Okay, by this point, you should have watched the G&M code PowerPoint, the mil bits and the code reference. And now we're actually going to start our project. On Project Lead the Way, it is G&M codes using absolute. Absolute is where the 00 is in the corner. You'll get a blue piece of wax, and here are all your resources. And the first step is to actually lay out your blocks. And this piece of paper, um, you can print it out, and it looks like this. Your letters, um, for your purpose, will want to stay in here. Let's say there's a G. Okay, let me get a marker. So you'll want to stay within here, these areas. Okay, so that's the first step. G, V, something like that, and then maybe you have a curve. Okay, so your initials. For our purpose, I'm going to keep it very simple. I already had something looking like this. Here is your 00 reference, and we then have a G and a V. We will go ahead and label our points A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and so on. H, I, J. So that's your first step. So let's take a look at what that rubric looks like. Let's go back, and you're going to lay out your initials. That is the first step on the rubric. Straight line, graph papers, labeling your points. Now the second step is to get your design coordinates. That piece of paper, what does that look like? So here is your graph. And what you'll do is for A, B, C, you'll get the coordinates. So A would be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on my graph, comma 6. And B would be 4, comma 8. And so what you'll do on the paper is you will just label all your coordinate points, 4, comma 6. I said the second one was 4, comma 8. The third one was C was 1, comma 8. So all your X and Y's, D is 1, comma 1, and so on. So right now you have your graph sheet and your coordinate sheets. Okay, so then what we'll do, we'll go to the rubric. Now we want to start writing our code. Okay, what I would do is write your NC code on basically just WordPad or Microsoft Word, and then you'll copy it, paste it into CNC Motion. You'll also want to have comments. Those are in the green. Absolute, just a reminder, you'll have absolute, and then you'll have relative. CNC Motion will be on another video. So again, absolute, just a reminder, is when you're 00, everything is referenced to this 00 comma point here. When it is relative, 00, you're still going to have A is 4, comma 6, but now A becomes 00, and B would be 0, 1, 2, 0, comma 2. So every time your 00 jumps, then B becomes your 00 in reference to C. C then becomes 00, and you'd have a 0, negative 7 for D. Okay, keep them simple. You will want to have one rounded. So in writing your code, the first thing you'll want to do, and I'm just going to write this out for you, is basically, let's see if that's focused. I'm pretty sure it is. You're going to have some comments, and they're always going to start with the green comments is the colon, for me only. Okay, for me only, and they're going to be green, just so you know. And you'll always want to put your name. So Mrs. Brown, the date, what project it is, what material. So we're going to be using wax. So material is wax for your initials. I just call it a paperweight. Project, what will it be? It's 2.3.3 A G&M initials. The date, oh my goodness, it's January. Well, the time you guys do this, maybe the 7th, 21. Name Mrs. Brown. I will not accept it if we don't have this stuff on there. The tooling, we talked about the tooling. We're just going to be using an 1/8 inch end mill. That tells the person, the operator, what you're going to be using. So that's all in green. The first line of code, N01. Very important. I'm going to put a line through it when it's 0. A lot of times you're going to get a mistake and it'll be an O. G90. Anybody know what that is? We're going to tell you in green. That means we want it to be absolute. Reference to that 0 point. Then the next line of code. Now, right now it's all going to be black, but when you put it in CNC motion, you're going to get red, blue, green, and then if you get an error, you'll be able to go right to that line, and we'll get to that when we get to CNC motion. The next thing you want to tell it is the G20. Again, G&M codes first, only one time. That means inches. Again, you want to tell the operator the green code. It's kind of like pseudocode for me and you type thinking. Line 3, M06. Again, these are zeros. T1, that means we need to tell it a tool change. We said, and CNC motion, you'll set it up to be an 1/8 inch end mill. Okay. Line 4, sometimes we need this, sometimes we don't, but we're just going to put it in. G25, H17, that's actually going to show up orange. What that means is close the vise. Ours is a manual vise, but when you're in CNC motion, you need to tell it to close a vise. But when you get to the real machine, we don't really need it, but we're going to put it in there. N05 means turn the spindle on. M03. These are all zeros. I should be putting zeros, lines through them. M03, not O's. And then you can also tell in the same line S3000. So what that does is turns the spindle speed on, to 3000. And then what we want is basically what we want now is we want to go just above point A. So we want to go fast, line N06. Go fast, we're not cutting, G00. We're going to, if you remember, the first point A was 4,2 in my fake little block. So if you take a look, here is a block of wax, and you're going to go just up. We'll say here's 0, 0. We're going to go about right here, just above. Your mill bit will be right here, just above. So G00, X4, space Y6. And then your Z, this is a little different, is 1. That means just above. Just above. So we tell the reader above 1. This will really help me troubleshoot if you're having problems. Then we want to cut N07. So G01, we'll start diving in. We'll turn the feed rate on, F30, and we will lower it to a Z negative 0.125. We're just going to go 1/8. So we will lower on A. Then you'll start cutting. So where do you think we'll go next? We will go to N08, and you will go to your X will be 4 and your Y will be 8. You don't have to keep putting in the speed, the feed rate. You don't have to keep putting the spindle. You're just going to keep going on and putting your X and your Y's. If you need to raise it, going to another letter, that's a common mistake. So from G to V, you'd want to raise it above. That's another common mistake. So when you're traveling is G00, but again, when you're cutting, it's G01. We will do a circular cut if you're doing the S in another video. And then what else? If you are doing relative, that here changes to G91 here. Okay, so that would be also something a little different. Go back to the PowerPoint. They do give examples. I'm trying to think of anything else. I think that's just about it. So your G01, and then you'd keep adding your X and your Y. So for example, X4, X8, and you'd say 2 point B. Okay, so your G01, X4, Y8 point B. And then you'd go to C. If you remember, our graph looked like this: A, B, C. You'd go to D, and then E, F, G. Then you'd raise it and quickly travel over to H. At the end, you can do the M code to stop. And you're done. That's it. Have fun with it. And again, put that in Word or Notepad, and then you can copy paste it over to CNC Motion. Okay, so that will take you up to the CNC Motion, the actual mill itself. Don't forget the code blocks and the relative code also. All right.